Hey everybody, and welcome to Leia's Lair. Here's our review of the Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 7, Dangerous Dead. So the episode starts off exactly where Episode 6 left off, with our three characters stuck in a Pike prism.
Yeah. So this is kind of where we get to see the blame game starting, and it's mostly between Ahsoka and Rafa. Rafa is blaming Trace for dumping the spice, whereas Ahsoka is kind of blaming it on Rafa. Like, why would you choose this job? And so it's a little back and forth between them on the right thing to do, and Ahsoka keeps insisting, if she does jobs like these, she's ruining lives with spice. So then what does Rafa do? She calls her, oh, look, we have like a regular Jedi over here, which is supposed to be a diss.
It's like an insult which is funny because Ahsoka is actually a Jedi.
Yeah.
So they then explain to Ahsoka about how a speeder chase on Coruscant, where they are after an escaped Zero the Hutt, led to the death of their parents.
Mm-hmm. And so they kind of give a little description about the Jedi. Green, piercing eyes, black robes. So to us, it kind of sounds like Luminara Unduli. So she comes back and basically says, I had a choice to make, but don't worry, the Force will be with you, and kind of just leaves Trace and Rafa.
With no home and no parents.
Yeah.
And so now they have this like hate out for the Jedi which is fair enough, I guess. Like, if that happened to anybody, I'm sure they would be more than unimpressed.
Yeah, just like they're supposed to be all caring and help them, and basically are just like, the Force will be okay, we'll help you.
Yeah.
And they're like, our parents are dead, like what are we gonna do right now?
Yeah.
So then after they do this kind of debate, which gives Ahsoka more insight into, why people might not like the Jedi. They take the Pikes decide to take Rafa to go torture her to find out where the spice is. Bring her back. She obviously
didn't tell them where it was.
No. So then she's kind of like knocked out in a sense, and they go to take Trace, but on her way there, she manages to kind of sneakily get their gun, shoot a bunch of them. She
pretends to faint, and then they're like, "Oh no!" And then she comes back to life and steals their gun.
Yeah. So she shoots them, gets away. They start chasing her. She's running down the hallway like Han in A New Hope, just screaming, ah! So Ahsoka just like sees them run by, and with Rafa still knocked out, she decides to use the Force
to open the door,
to open the lock, which is, we're starting to see that flexibility with Ahsoka using the Force, and that's something I really enjoyed in this episode, but we'll get to it as we go through more of the times that she uses it in this episode.
So the pursuit continues, and the three of them are trying to evade all the Pike guards, and they run outside where a bridge starts to open. So Rafa, who's in the first, she gets across easily, but Ahsoka stops Trace from jumping, and then she's like, no, I'm gonna make it, and jumps anyways, and like obviously isn't gonna make it. So
you can
Ahsoka,
see her like kind of falling down a bit. So what does Ahsoka do? She uses the Force again.
Yeah.
She helps her friend get that little boost, and she's like, oh, did you see that? I made it. And then they have no faith that Ahsoka's gonna make it. They're like, it's okay, she's not gonna make it. And she just leaps right over them. They think that she fell down. Like, oh no, that's so sad. She fell. But she does make it. And they're like, how did you do that? And she's like, oh, I'm just more athletic than I look.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's not normal. She's like, we don't have time.
We can't talk about this right now. So they split up, with Ahsoka going to release the gate and Trace and Rafa going to distract the guards. Although Ahsoka ends up taking out more guards in the control tower. She just like owns 5 of them.
Yeah. So I think she definitely got the harder of the two jobs there. So now they're on in like the civilian area, and they come across a drunk civilian, and he's asking them for credits, and they kind of just brush him off. But then the drunk civilian goes and asks some of the Pikes for credits, and they're looking for they have like their projector pad out, and they're just like, and they have the Ahsoka, Trace, and Rafa. So the guy's like, oh, I know where those guys are for some credits. So he sells them out. So Ahsoka, Trace, and Rafa get spotted by the Pikes, and they try to all escape unsuccessfully as Rafa and Trace get captured, although Ahsoka is able to escape. And this is cool because this is where we get to see a glimpse on the connection of this arc and how it's going to lead into the Siege of Mandalore.
I was kind of waiting for that because I knew it was like bound to happen, but we had no indication of how that was going to happen.
Yeah, and it's really cool because so we get to see a little conversation between Mandalorian's Ursa Wren, who's actually the mother of Sabine Wren for all the Rebels fans out there, and Bo-Katan Kryze. So we know who Bo-Katan is from both Clone Wars and Rebels. So they're looking for Ahsoka as they have a common enemy, which is Darth Maul, who at this point has taken over Mandalore with Death Watch. So this is how it's leading into it, guys. So this is really exciting stuff right now. We're going to see that connection. So the episode kind of ends with the same way it started. Although Ahsoka tries to go back and save Trace and Rafa, it was a trap and they get outnumbered. And they're back in prison. So
right back where we started at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. So it's like, what really happened in this episode?
Yeah. It's like the whole episode was just to like connect them to the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian, sorry, and then and then just put them right back to the start.
Yeah. But we do get to see a lot of cool things like we see Ahsoka using a lot of more flexibility with the Force. She even used it to pull some guys out so that Rafa and Trace could shoot them. Like that was so brutal, but so cool to see in a sense because it's just like no Jedi would be doing that. Pull someone out to be like, oh, and then get shot. Like it's basically like killing them herself. So it's like we get to see this sort of like flexibility with Ahsoka. She's using the Force more. Not essentially in good ways, but I mean, it's helping them.
It's like to survive, though. She's not maybe using it the way a Jedi would, but she's still using it to help others, I guess.
Yeah, she's using it to help herself and Trace and Rafa.
Yeah.
At the expense of the Pike's life. But it's really cool to see that. We get to see her use it to open up, the prison. We get to see her use it to save her friend. Like we're seeing this flexibility with it, and I'm really liking this arc so far. But yeah, we'll just get into the review of the episode, I guess.
So in terms of ratings for me, I think I'm going to give this episode an 8.5. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was action-packed. We got to see, like, the connection with the Siege of Mandalore, which I thought was pretty cool, and the Mandalorians. We got to see the character development of Ahsoka really starting to, like, develop, I guess. And yeah, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think that there's only going to be better things to come. Seems to be the case with this whole arc. It just gets better and better with each episode. So yeah, I'll give it an 8.5.
Yeah, so for myself, I'm actually going to give this one a 9 out of 10 because I was thoroughly engaged in the episode. We got to see a lot of cool things. We got to see the shout out to Han where, Trace is running down the hallways. We get to see Ahsoka using the Force in mischievous ways, which is very cool to see. And yeah, Mandalorians. That says it all right there. We got to see a glimpse of some pretty cool Mandalorians and how it's going to lead us into the Siege of Mandalore. So 9 out of 10. This episode was a solid episode. Really enjoyed it.
And there you have it. Thanks for watching, everyone. What did you think of this episode of the Clone Wars? Let us know down below in the comment section. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more great videos to come. We hope to see you all again in Leia's Lair.